Hello, today I'm going to show you a really simple, quick and easy method for making organic garlands. We're using Sempertex latex today. The bulk of our garland will be made using 12-inch balloons, and those colours are going to be Pastel Matte Melon, Fashion Peach Blush, Fashion Fuchsia, Fashion Mustard and Fashion Coral. So what we're going to do to begin with is create our clusters, and the thing that we're going to attach those clusters to are 260s. The reason for the 260s is that as things begin to break or reduce, they're going to be pulled back in nice and tight. We want something that's going to be long lasting for everyone to enjoy their event and into the future as well. So clusters, we're going to make clusters of 6 that look something like this. Mixes of colours, not too worried about what we do and don't use. And in terms of sizing, our biggest balloon is going to be around the 9 to 10 inches, and I'll show you the reason for that now. So I'm just going to turn this on. I'm going to set my timer. On this one I know that 1.2, 1.3 is about right for what I want. When I inflate these balloons, what I want to do is get the air into the rounded part of the balloon. So when I'm putting it onto my inflator, I'm cinching everything down so that the nozzle is in the rounded part of my latex. And the same on this side here. So the reason why we're inflating to about 9 or 10 inches is perfectly clear now, is that these balloons are still very nice and round. Any larger and they begin to go balloon shaped, and we want something that is round and not pear/balloon shape. So one of these is going to be left at our 9-10 inch mark, and the others are going to be reduced down. And then when we're tying these together, we're tying into the duplet, so we pull nice and tight, wrap them around the balloon a couple of times and tie them off. And then we'll add another pair. Again, not too worried about colours here. So I'm passing the nozzles right into the rounded part of that balloon. And then this time I'm going to reduce both of these balloons down so that they're both less than the 9-10 inch mark. Again, tying them nice and tightly to one another. And then I'm going to make my pair into a quad, like so. And then we'll do our final pair of balloons, passing that nozzle into the round part of the balloon. And again, reduce these down so that they're smaller. We want lots of variety of sizing in our clusters. So now when I pass this one in, what I want to do is I want to get all of our knots to meet in the middle. So the way I do that is I keep 2 balloons on the bottom, 2 balloons on the top. So this pair will pass, will pass in between this gap here. So you can see I'm keeping this peach blush on the top, fuchsia on the top, mustard on the bottom, melon on the bottom. This pair is coming through here, and then we're just going to twist those 2 round and lock them into place. So we want to make a series of clusters like this, and then once we've done that, we can take our 260, we're going to pinch the closed end and squeeze all of the air out till we get down to the neck roll, and then tie a knot in the end there, and that will give us a ribbon like this. I'm going to take that ribbon and tie it into the center of my first cluster. A couple of overhand knots is absolutely fine. And then we've got all of this to work with. So what we do is we grab our clusters, we place them on top of our first one, pushing down nice and tight and pulling up really tight on our 260. And then all we need to do is figure of 8 around a couple of balloons, and that's those locked into place. I'm just going to turn this off whilst I do the rest of this. So same again, pushing down on this lot, pushing down on this one, pulling up nice and tight on my 260, figure of 8, not around my bracelet, around the balloons, and this is how we begin to build our garland. Just going to pass it on the floor now, it's a bit easier. So I'm pushing down, pulling up on that 260, locking things into place. If it starts to curve in ways that you don't like, we can just move those clusters around until we're happy with the direction. That's much better for me now. Okay, so I could probably get away with doing another couple of clusters on there, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to stop at this point and I'm going to show you how to tie everything off. So what I'm going to do at this point now is I'm going to create a loop using my hand. I'm going to go down through a couple of the balloons, back up again, passing the end through that loop, and then we'll do another one. And then we've locked everything into place to create our garland. If this isn't quite long enough, all we need to do is take another 260, squeeze the air out, tie a knot in the end, fix this into our top cluster, just a couple of overhand knots as we did previously. And then we can continue on adding balloons as we go. I'll do one more and then we'll add on to our organic elements. Lock it off on the end here. So that's the main bulk of our garland. As you can see, very nicely tight and pulled together. So there's no bits that are flapping around. And then all we want to do is add in our 5-inch clusters. So the way we're going to add those in is first of all to make some of them. So I'll turn this back on whilst we make some. We're now going down to 5-inch latex. Let's get a couple more of these. So the same thing again is we want to determine the largest size of our balloon. The nozzle is right into that rounded part. So I'm happy that was my largest balloon, and then everything else can be smaller than that. Instead of doing 6s, we're going to do 4s this time. You can do 6s, it's no problem, just going to do 4s. Again, not worried about sizing. Take our duplets, make them into quads, and we'll do another 4. So then we have our clusters of 4. Same thing with the 260. We're going to pinch that end, pull right down and tie a knot to create our ribbon again. One of those ends is going to go into this cluster here. And the other end is going to go onto our other cluster. And that gives us 2 clusters tied to our 260. Bring our garland back in. And then all we need to do is take these pairs and pass them into our garland, wrap them around a couple of the balloons and get them into place. So one can live here. I'll bring the other one up round to here. And then we've got a couple more that are pre-made, so we do the same thing again, pulling them nice and tight. One can go on the end there, one on the top here. And third and final pair for this video, same thing again, locked into the top here, on the front there. So a couple of reasons as to why we do the 260s in this way. Number one, we have them in our kit boxes, keeps it simple and easy. But secondary to that is that if someone comes along and tries to grab these balloons, they're not going anywhere. You know, if we use glue dots or something similar, they might get pulled off and move away from our garland. Whereas on the 260, they're firm in there and they just spring back into place. So that's the quick, simple, easy method for getting your balloon garlands made. Look forward to seeing you again soon.